Hari Om, welcome back to the stories from the Upanishads. And today's story is from the Kathopanishad or the Kathopanishad. In this story, our hero is a young boy, probably all of just 9 years old. And this young boy was the son of one Brahman whose name was Vajashravas. Now, Vajashravas, he was a householder and he decided that he would do the Vishwajit Yaga. Now, the Vishwajit Yaga was normally done by the kings after they had won the war in many kingdoms, won over many kingdoms and returned, and then they would perform this Vishwajit Yaga. But sometimes the householders would also perform this Yaga, and this Yaga was performed with a certain desire in mind. Now, the important part in this Vishwajit Yaga is that one who performs this Yaga gives away all his possessions in charity. And at the end of it, he gets the desired, whatever he has made sankalpa that this is what he wants. Now, the father has performed this Vishwajit Yaga, and as a part of it, he is giving away all his possessions. Our hero's name is Nachiketa, and Nachiketa was standing at the door and watching his father give away the gifts. And he was a little surprised as to why his father was giving away old cows, cows that are weak and lean, cows that don't give any more milk, cows that are not really interested in food or water. And this was not right. Nachiketa knew that. When we give gifts, especially when we are performing a yaga like this, we don't give gifts that are of no use to the one whom we are giving it to. So Nachiketa was wondering, why is father doing this? Then he thought about it and he felt, if father continues to do this, then it's not just that he won't get what he wants through this yaga, but what if he attains hell? And he thought that he must try and do something. Probably he thought he could redeem his father in some way. So he went to his father and he asked, "Father, whom will you give me to?" Vajashravas was busy and he ignored this young boy's prattle and he didn't answer. Nachiketa patiently waited, and Nachiketa asked again, "Father, whom will you give me to?" Because Nachiketa felt that he was certainly a lot more useful than the kind of gifts his father was giving away. Father again did not answer. Nachiketa didn't give up. He asked again and again, maybe 4 or 5 times, at the end of which father got annoyed, irritated, and he said, "Mrityave dadami," meaning, I will give you to death. Nachiketa bowed down and he went. And he was thinking, see, Vajashravas did not really mean to say that he'll give away his son to death. It's just that he was irritated at that point of time, isn't it? But Nachiketa knew that once it was told, that's it. So he had made up his mind that he was going to the abode of Lord of Death. Who is the Lord of Death? Lord Yama, of course. And he was very curious and anxious to know what it is that Lord Yama might want through him. Because he knew everything is God's plans, isn't it? And none of his plans are without a purpose. So he was curious. And thus he left for Lord Yama's abode. Now when he reached there, Lord Yama was not there. So he had to wait 3 days and 3 nights, after which Lord Yama returned. And when Lord Yama returned and saw that a young Brahman boy has been waiting at his doorstep for 3 days, 3 nights without food. Oh, that is not a good thing at all. He had to do some prayaschitta karma for this. So Lord Yama addressed Nachiketa and said, "Young Brahmin boy, it's unfortunate that you had to wait for me at my doorstep like this for 3 days and 3 nights. In return, I give you 3 boons. Ask away, my boy." So Nachiketa thought and said, "Bhagavan, since you're giving me 3 boons, this is what I would like to ask. For the first boon, I would like my father to greet me happily in a calm manner without any anger when I return from here." Lord Yama said, "Tathastu, your father will be very happy to have you back. He will be in a very happy and calm mood and there won't be any anger towards you. All right, ask for the second boon." Then Nachiketa thought and said, "Bhagavan, I have heard that in Swargaloka there is no fear, there is no disease, there is no old age, there is no sorrow. And it is also said that you, the Lord of Death, even death is not there in Swargaloka. Please teach me, Bhagavan, that path, that procedure by which one can attain Swargaloka." So Lord Yama smiled and said, "Sure, my boy." And he taught him the entire yaga by doing which one would attain Swargaloka. He taught him all about the details of the procedure, what is to be done, when it is to be done, by whom it is to be done, and what conditions have to be followed, because all of these rituals, these sacrifices, these yagas have very strict rules. So he taught all of it in detail to Nachiketa. Now Nachiketa was a very intelligent and bright student and he grasped everything like that. And after Lord Yama had told him the entire thing, he told it back to Lord Yama without a single mistake. And Lord Yama, oh, when one receives a student like that, one is thrilled. And so was Lord Yama. And he said, "Little boy, I am so amazed. It is so wonderful to see how well you have grasped this. And this gives me so much joy that from here on, the Agni, the fire that is used in this yaga, will be called Nachiketa Agni. It will be named after you." Nachiketa bowed down. It didn't matter much to him. He said, "Bhagavan, now for the third boon, I have a doubt and I would like you to clarify it for me." And what was this little boy's doubt? Nachiketa said that when someone dies, some people say that he exists. Some others say that he doesn't exist. Can you please clarify this for me, Bhagavan? Lord Yama looked at him and said, "This young boy has a question so deep." And he tried to dissuade that boy and he said, "Dear boy, this matter is kind of complicated. Even the Devatas struggle to understand. Even they don't have complete clarity over it. Ask for something else." Nachiketa looked at Lord Yama and smiled and said, "Bhagavan, they probably didn't have a guru like you. But now I am here and I have this opportunity to ask you. And I know that you have this knowledge. I don't want to lose this opportunity. And so I stick with my question, O Lord." Lord Yama looked at him and said, "But young boy, I can give you many other things. I can give you lots of riches. I can make you famous. I can give you lots of land and wealth. I can give you this entire earth and make you the king of this earth." Nachiketa again looked at Lord Yama and smiled and said, "Bhagavan, whatever you may offer me, all of these things are such that one day it will end. And not just that, I have seen that this body and the senses, sense organs, they become weak as we keep indulging in these riches and wealth and land. So I am not interested in any of this, Bhagavan. You may please keep it all to yourself, and I stick with my question. Lord Yama looked at him and realized that this boy was being absolutely stubborn about that highest knowledge that he was asking. So Lord Yama started by saying that there are two paths. One is the path of the good, which is called the Shreyo Marga, the path of Shreyas, and the other is the path of pleasant, the Preyo Marga, or the path of Preyas. And he said that the wise ones choose the path of good. Initially, the path of good looks very difficult, lot of obstacles, but in the end, it gives you the best. But the ignorant ones choose the path of prayers, the pleasant path, where everything is nice in the beginning. It's a very easy journey. It's very beautiful to start with. But as time goes, it will unfold the sorrow and the difficulties in it. And he said, this path to the knowledge that you are asking for is a razor edge path, very difficult to follow. And this knowledge cannot be got by lectures, cannot be got by listening to something for a long period of time. It cannot be got by intelligence, no matter how much intelligence one has. But this is such a knowledge that only one who is determined that this is what I want, one who desires that this and only this I want nothing else, it is available to such a person. And Lord Yama says, in you I see such a seeker. Now Nachiketa, he thought about it and said, Bhagavan, I have heard that there is something beyond which is good and bad, right and wrong, life and death. There's something beyond all of this. Can you please tell me about that? See, Nachiketa knew that Lord Yama has praised this question, the fact that he has, not got tempted by any distractions and all of that. But that was not the answer to the question that Nachiketa had asked, right? So it is as though reminding Lord Yama, Bhagwan, I've asked you a question and I'm still waiting for the answer. Now, Lord Yama said, what you are asking for, O Nachiketa, is what is called as Om. Om is none other than the Brahman. And this Brahman cannot be understood by these five senses, the mind, the buddhi. It is beyond all of this. And it is beyond any form and name that you are aware of. It is beyond time. It cannot be seen, it cannot be heard, it cannot be smelt or tasted, it cannot be understood or thought about. Then Nachiketa was thinking, And Lord Yama continued. Lord Yama said, see, this body is like the chariot. And someone sits on the chariot to go to some place, isn't it? Who is the one who is sitting in the chariot? That is the individual or the jiva, or you and I. All right. What else does a chariot have? Someone needs to drive the chariot, isn't it? So there is a sarathi for the chariot. Now who is the sarathi? Lord Yama says, the buddhi is the charioteer, the driver of this chariot. And what else is there? There are those reins which the charioteer holds, isn't it? So that the reins, that is the mind. And the reins are attached to what? He says there are 5 horses to this chariot. And those 5 horses are our sense organs. And he says that the one who has all those reins in his hand, in the buddhi, it is in the hands of the buddhi which has been cultivated, cultured, educated on the right path. Now that buddhi is the sarathi, an efficient sarathi, and with such a chariot, the owner, the one who is riding the chariot, is sure to reach his chosen goal. Because if the 5 horses decide to go each one in a different direction, imagine the chaos. But when they are all held together by those reins, held together, and that reins is in the hands of one who is capable, one who knows how to handle them, how to direct them, then, and if that buddhi is holding the reins, then the journey is smooth and the destination, the right destination, the chosen destination is reached without much effort. And he says, understand that the sense organs are more powerful than the sense objects that you are seeing around or you are perceiving through all your sense organs. So the sense organs are more powerful than the sense objects, but the mind is more powerful than the sense organs. And is that all? No. The buddhi is more powerful than this mind. And what is it that is more powerful than the buddhi? And that, Lord Yama goes on to say, is the Brahman or Om, the self. So many names, but it all refers to that one. Nachiketa thought, all right, all this is fine, but if this is the case, then how is one to know this Brahman? It cannot be perceived by the senses, I cannot know it by my buddhi, I cannot grasp it in any way, then how does one know this Brahman? And probably Lord Yama guessed that this is the thought going on in Nachiketa's mind, and he says, dear boy, first of all, one must believe that this Brahman exists. Asti iti. One must have that shraddha, one must have that complete faith that yes, this exists. Only then the further understanding is possible. And he says that when the wrong understandings in the intellect are removed, when the mind is made completely pure, and then this knowledge of the Brahman dawns. And how does that knowledge come? The final knowledge is to say that I am that very Brahman that is being spoken about. And this, my boy, is what you have asked me. Now, through this dialogue with the Lord of Death, this boy of 9 years old, Nachiketa, the hero of the story of today, attained that highest knowledge because he was a fit adhikari, because he was one of pure mind. He was one who had that determination that this is what I want, no matter what distractions were put in his way. He pushed them aside and said, I don't want them. This is what I want. So here was a determined student, and what a compassionate teacher. And as a combination, through their dialogue, we have this beautiful knowledge being presented to us. So we may also pick from this and progress on our spiritual journey. May we all be inspired by this 9-year-old boy Nachiketa and his dialogue with the Lord of Death, and progress on the spiritual path until one day we realize that I am indeed Brahman. Hari Om, until we meet for the next story from another Upanishad.